Billions by the billionaire club, it don't matter, but please don't stub. Check the shrub on the ground and pick it up, put it in the can. My nigga, who you are is a man. Don't be a beginner of such. I keep it going real high off a Dutch. What do you know? Is it stick or clutch? Automatic, I'm back with the static, then I'll let you have it. Each and every way, no matter my nigga, each and all of y'all pray. And don't forget the goodness of the day, cause everything that goes wrong, hit the bong all night long. Get the gong, fuck out of here. Voila! It's your brother John Mack back in the building, here with Metro 360 News and Entertainment. And I sincerely apologize for my hiatus, as I have been dealing with some personal issues and trying to clean up a few rough edges. You know, I'm glad to be back, and I'm thankful that so many of y'all have taken the time to listen to my commentary. But this show right here is very special and dear to me, because it deals with somebody personally who has been taking shots at my native home state, California, for a long time. I couldn't understand early on why he was doing what he was doing. Some people said for the attention. Others said that he was trying to clean up, the gang violence in Texas, and that they were imitating the lifestyle of Los Angelenos and Californians 2 states away. He believed that negative influence and impact on the youngsters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Texas in general was detrimental, because everybody knows that the California lifestyle is very, very destructive. But it's designed that way for protection and safety due to the large amounts of real estate that California counties, cities, and towns possess, along with a grandiose economy, one that could only be rivaled by our unofficial nemesis, New York City. Other states just don't have the population and numbers that California does. And based on that, it leaves us in a lot of vulnerable positions when it comes to individualism, based on the amount of people and their factions that dwell, live, and desire to roam the California streets. Right? So, you have a lot of clicking up, because people by design will protect themselves with other like-minded people. Sometimes it's based on particulars like race. Other times it's the demographic of which neighborhood you live in. And for the black community, it could be complex in several other ways, as well as dealing with the sounds of the police. Whoop, whoop. It's the sounds of the beast. Because they are everywhere in California. If you know anything about one time in California, you'll know that we coined the phrase the ghetto bird. That is a phrase that has been assimilated, associated, and unappreciated by multitudes of youth in the California high school system, and what projects, all that type of shit. Because when you grow up around a lot of gang violence, like most Los Angelenos do, the police will be in and out of your school and in and out of your apartment complex and projects and in your backyard at any goddamn time they want. It's a proven fact. Rampart used to love to put a pair of shiny boots in your ass. They would polish them up and scuff magic them and everything right before entering the sphincter. So you have to be ready and prepared to be scuff magicked. Well, that brings us back to Charleston White, right? A guy who entered our perception in a visual, distinct way, through YouTube of all places. Appearing in Fort Worth City Council meetings and coming with a grandiose story, one that almost seems too good to be true. He claims that in junior high school he was a latchkey child, and that due to being a latchkey child and his mother always at work, although she did live in the beautiful community of Arlington, Texas at the time, working for, I believe, General Motors, like my mother. Charleston claimed to be a kid who was disgruntled, and due to his gang ties that he created himself, he says, he shot a white man in the parking lot of the now defunct mall, the Six Flags Mall on 360 at the time, which was connected to Six Flags Magic Mountain and was a part of their entire mystique, which was then usurped by the new mall in Arlington at Parks. So he went to juvenile hall, he claims. There grew up in the juvenile system, then transforming over to what would be equivalent to the California Youth Authority in California, which is a medium pen for teenagers that are transitioning into adulthood if they are serving time during that transitional period of age between the ages of 17, I believe, and 21 years old. At that time, he claims that Bailey Hutchins, if I'm correct, there was a program in Texas that offered young juveniles who committed egregious acts such as murder a second chance instead of spending the rest of their life in the penitentiary. And he had a few guys that vouched for him and who he was and where he came from and how he came about. And his story seemed plausible as a 40-plus-year-old man, I think, born around 1977 like myself, connected to the streets, and seeing that he wanted to help clean up a lot of neighborhoods. It really didn't matter that he had a certain perspective about California to me, because I thought to myself, like I'm sure most people did, what a courageous man out there fighting for the youth and souls of our kids by any means necessary, in his own distinct way as well, by, leaving the incarceration system to then go to college, have a family, a son, be raising his son, and returning himself to a full civil member of society. You have to applaud a story like that. That's a superhero story. But then we started to see him use this for political gain and capital. And that is always the corrupting factor. Political gain and capital. How can you trust a man who has been incentivized? Is the real question. Is he just a Judas in the community, practicing his best form of leechism? Or Is he a diplomatic, educated, well-versed in the English knowledge and language, able to complexly converse with those of law enforcement and normal society, bridging gaps and helping out single mothers, is simply honorable, right? If we are to look at it from that perspective. But if he is incentivized to do it, we don't disrespect a man taking his job a little extra step further and caring about the community. That's an important task that we all should aspire and live to. When it comes to tomorrow's generation of leaders, teachers, firefighters, police officers, and military, is absolutely imperative, like the old Ethiopian proverb that says and states, it will take a village to raise a child. Well, this Judas has done a little more than try to help children. He comes on a lot of platforms very brash, disrespecting dead artists. Now, before I go any further, a lot of people would probably be insensitive to those scenarios, because if an artist is dead, especially due to his own mouth and activity, it's like how to feel sorry for him. But I encourage those out there and beg of you to use the best portion of your common sense. And if you are a God-fearing person in any way, form, or fashion, whether it be Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, so many other personal faiths. If you are a God-fearing man, you know, like I know, that sin is paid for by the wages of death. When one dies, all is forgiven. And his past iniquities, trauma, trouble, or egregious acts at that very moment should be forgiven. First of all, it does not help us to carry on grudges well beyond the avengeful's death. But the only thing that we could gain from a scenario like that is a wicked, cold heart, guaranteed to be that anchor that doesn't allow you to transform into the next level to become that beam of light. You are looking at a oblivious complex of oneself at that very point. Being angry is very healthy sometimes, because keeping that edge in your soul and on your heart while in this physical form can help you protect yourself and others, and we understand that very intimately. However, when you do things like that, you offend mothers, grandmothers, brothers, sisters, politicians, and people in the community. And as far as we are concerned, especially here in the black community, right? Well, if you think about it, slavery ended in 1893. And based on that number, that means 150 years, almost 45 years of full-fledged emancipated freedom in this country. And if you go back to those who were coming directly out of Reconstruction, they were owning property. They were able to start things with limited education, like a Black Wall Street. Think about how far away from that we have come. That wouldn't even be a plausible thought in 2024, starting a Black Wall Street. But yet people that were freshly emancipated from slavery with zero education was able to establish things like that? My, how we should be ashamed of ourselves. And instead of, us uplifting people about positive, motivating forces within our lives, like Aaliyah stated, or the Isley brothers, depending on which era you were born in. Right? Motivating forces within our lives. A Black Wall Street couldn't be more motivating. If you have something else, please tell me. I'll take the Black Wall Street. You take whatever else. Right? So when we have a gentleman out here like this who claims to be of the people and for the people, it seems to me like those are more politician aspirations than neighborhood or community cleanup and supplying the role models in those communities that would be more influential than life itself to young people who aspire to be something. Instead, you'd rather have a gentleman out there who spends all of his time as a double agent of chaos. To be continued.
You're an agent of chaos.